So how did you find yourself in the wonderful world of dowsing?
Well, it's a long story, but I'll cut to the chase and say that I went on a dowsing weekend with my wife Roz. Roz was the one who was actually invited to go on the weekend. I only went along as the driver, basically, and It was a course that was taught by Alan Neal, and Alan Neal was the co-founder of the Tamar Dowsers, but in the 1990s, Alan did a lot of sessions in the West Country. In fact, for a while, I think he was probably the best known tutor in sort of Devon and Cornwall anyway. And I went along with very few preconceptions. I did have a pair of dowsing rods, which Rod had bought me some years earlier, and I had once bought a book on dowsing by a guy called Tom Graves, you may have heard of, and when I was a student in London in the 70s. But I read the first page and I thought, well, this is a bit far-fetched. I got to the bit about minerals and I thought, no, this is nonsense. And I got to next chapter was about map dowsing, and no, it's just complete nonsense. And I put it on the shelf and I never looked at it again. And I never have. Amazing, isn't it? And when I got onto the Alan Neal's course, then I had a little bit of an idea of what it was about, but I had no idea that I would be able to do it. And I'll always remember walking up the room. Alan had sort of given us a very brief and perfunctory introduction to what dowsing was. And he said, right, we'll go and look for some water lines and things. And so we walked up the centre of a room where he was giving his talk. And I'll always remember him saying, oh, this chap's got it, this chap's got it. And I looked over my shoulder to see who he was talking about, and it was me. And so I couldn't get my head around that at the time. But I was clearly ready for it because it wasn't a road to Damascus change. It was something that just confirmed something that I probably already knew, but didn't know I knew. So that's how I got into dowsing.